Am I right, sir, or am I wrong? Today, Mark Davis puts a cramp in Roger Goodell's style. He wanted to cover up the Washington football team investigation and make it so John Gruden was the only person that faced any consequences. Well, guess what? He just blew up the spot. Um, NBA fouls have been a source of problems and frustration for many NBA fans, especially the casual fans. But now they are changing, and James Harden is pissed. Charlie Kirk answers a question about a civil war, and we are here to tell you there's not a civil war coming. People, slow down. Buzz Lightyear starts is today our cancel or consequence. Yes, that from Toy Story guy because that has started some controversy, and of course the best of social media, where we literally give you the best of social media. And you guys can always hit us up 818-294-293-7547, 818-293-7547, or shoot us an email. I'm mad, IMMAD at unafraidshow.com, and we will get back with you. And leave a 5-star rating wherever you listen to podcasts. Swipe up, do all the great things to let us know we're doing a good job as well. But we'll start today, Ralph, with the what happened with the Washington football team. So you have they had their owner and the team be fined $10 million, $10 million for their workplace inappropriacy. They hit Daniel Snyder, the owner's wife, is now been in charge of the team for over 4 months. They've made everybody, all of their senior staff, go through training to make sure that they're not having a toxic work environment. And they issued a report, but the report is not going to be made public. You had the coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, John Gruden, ultimately end up getting fired because of his emails to then Washington football president Bruce Allen. But Roger Goodell wants us to believe that there is nothing else in the emails, Ralph. Do you believe him?
No, of course not. I don't. I also have genuine questions about Roger Goodell volunteering that the league wasn't behind the leak to get John Gruden out of there. Then, if the leak wasn't behind the leak, then they should have come out and they should have condemned it. They should do some type of internal review to figure out what happened because the only reason that you would not look for who leaked this to protect your own interests in the event that anybody else could get caught up in anything else, assuming these emails leak. The only reason that you're not just sitting back comfortable that no more are coming is if you did it,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So, like this whole thing of Roger Goodell saying the league wasn't behind the leak, then prove it. Figure
Yeah,
out what happened.
because I think some people have missed the point is that John Gruden was collateral damage. They were looking into the Washington football team and 40 women who have filed suit against the team. And then Roger Goodell at the press conference yesterday, had this to say. He was like, no, no, no. The reason why we're not releasing the report is to protect the victims.
And so we're very conscious of making sure that we're protecting those that came forward. They were incredibly brave, incredibly open, and we respect the pain that they probably went through all over again to come forward. And so that was a very high priority for us. The second would be, our focus, and our focus remains, is to make sure that all our clubs operate at the highest levels as far as our workforce and workplace, and making sure that we set the highest standards. We actually spent some time talking about that today.
That would sound good, right? Until you find out that the lawyer representing 40 of those women said, no, 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 fine, no, release it. We want you to release it. Ralph, this has gotten so ugly because the league knows that in those 650,000 emails that there would be collateral damage if those emails came out. So the question is, what's in those emails? And should they be released?
I don't I don't know if they should be released. Um there should maybe be an independent review board that can address any major issues. Um but you would have to, because let's say there are victims. Let's say there's, you wouldn't release photos of nude Washington cheerleaders.
No.
You,
You can
like,
redact that.
there's some stuff like what happened with DeMaurice Smith. Like, did do you think he wanted people seeing that stuff, or would you have thought that he would have hoped that the people that he considers colleagues would have either A, not done it in the first place, or B, addressed it and reported it instead of leaking it out through the media to where he has to be talked about and embarrassed? As somebody who, and you know my whole motto, tell the truth or somebody will tell it for you. I don't necessarily think that everything is for everybody.
Yeah,
I
would
think
agree
that
with
private
that,
emails are private emails.
Yeah, but
I think that you should be decent enough in the workplace to report issues of racism and
but
sexism
that's the
and
problem
misogyny.
is that they don't do it because there are no consequences for it. Is that yeah, private emails should be private, right? But at the same time, if those private emails are creating a situation in the workplace where it's a dangerous workplace, and also, right, here is the biggest thing about privacy is that privacy is important, but you have people who are either racist, hold hate in their heart for people, disdain for people, whatever it is, for other groups of people who are in charge of making hiring and firing decisions, right? That's the issue. It's not just the issue of that these emails are private. The problem is that you have people who hold hate or malice in their heart, or even known to themselves, because I do understand some of this stuff, we all have our subconscious bias and all of that. But the idea that those people have control over other people's livelihoods, that has to be exposed, because you can secretly and quietly impact other people's lives when this stuff is not out in the open about the leadership. And the leadership has to be held to a higher standard than the normal man.
Yes. How do you deal with issues that would create peripheral embarrassment or shame or something like that? What do you do? Do you have somebody go through and redact certain things before releasing it to the public? Is the public the right place for it to
No.
be? Okay.
See, here's but here's the thing, is that the public sometimes is the only way to judge. And granted, I do know sometimes the public goes overboard. But sometimes the public is the only way to fully understand, because if you are having a private review panel, they can just say, they can sweep some stuff under the rug. So I think that there's an element of it that needs to be public, and then an element of it because everybody doesn't need to know what's in the sausage, how the sausage is made, because they just want to eat it and it tastes good. But here is the next problem for the NFL is that Mark Davis, who's the owner and president of the Las Vegas Raiders, who had to fire his head coach, had this to say about the emails coming out.
Do you want to see a rip?
Probably, yeah. I think that there should be. Yeah.
Did you let your
Especially with some of the things that were, charged. Yeah, I believe so. I think people believe that deserve it, especially the people that were, quote, victims.
Yep. He's 100% right. And do you think, though, that I think that part of the reason why he feels like that is because Roger Goodell said that, yeah, that the Washington football team had been held accountable because they got a $10 million fine. And I'm like, that's not necessarily being held accountable. And he's like, well, the team hasn't been in his control. It's been in his wife's control. That's his control.
Right. And if anybody knows anything about like nepotism in football ownership, it's Mark Davis. He knows that Tanya Snyder, even if she is completely capable, which I think over time we found certain family members of original ownership groups to be, like Michael Bidwill in Arizona, by all accounts, is even better for Arizona than his father was. But the idea that somebody in your family would be the best person for the job to run $1 billion business with 1,000 employees is laughable. As good as I ever do at anything, the likelihood that just because somebody shares my last name, that they would be the best choice to handle that. I think that's caused more trouble in our country than it has good.
Yeah, but do you think that is like, you don't think she's going home and talking to him about it?
Oh, of course she is.
That's the point, is that it hadn't changed. He's like, well, he hadn't been in control of the team. Yes, he is. And that doesn't mean that his wife's not her own person, but he probably ran stuff by her prior, and vice versa. This didn't change anything. That's just a fake token thing. And we also
and assuming maybe it's even possible that it's being run better, that's more of an indictment of Dan Snyder than it is any indication that Tanya Snyder is the best person for the job and to clean up the mess that happened under her husband's nose. My whole worry with this is that the type of thing that we're dealing with, and Mark Davis should be upset because his team faced more consequences than Washington.
Yep.
But the thing that I continue to be concerned with is that everybody's like, oh, we want to take a look at this. We want to take a look at this. Well, the topic at hand in large part is a massive privacy violation tantamount to what I would consider to be an actual crime involving Washington football team cheerleaders.
Yep.
Like, I don't want to see that. It's like I didn't want to see the Aaron Andrews video. Like, I don't need to see. I don't think making, and I know that obviously they wouldn't publish those things directly, but like, I think that there should be a select group of people that should be able to access this that aren't directly affiliated with the NFL, because it's really hard to trust the NFL when their fingerprints are all over this, when it was people who were affiliated with the NFL, employed by the NFL, who were all involved in this in the first place. I'm not saying that it needs to turn into a whole like a exterior baseball investigation where you appoint somebody who, is a special prosecutor to come in and do the same thing as far as private business goes. But at the same time, it has to be, it can't just be for public consumption, because we're all going to have different demands based on the context of a million different things that becomes public to us. I'm not saying protect the privacy of the people who are dumbasses. I'm saying protect the privacy of the people who might be adversely affected by this stuff coming out.
So now there's the idea of what should be done to owners, right? Because if you force them to sell, yes, they lost a prized possession, right? That's hard to get, very hard to get for even billionaires. But at the same time, they go away with a multi-billion-dollar windfall. So, but it's there. So I don't think that you should be, that you can do anything about how much money they make off it, because they made a good investment. But now, after you've had Cal McNair, the Texans owner, using an anti-Asian racial slur at a team function,
you got the Robert Sarver rumors.
Yeah, like what should be done to owners in these situations? I think that heavy fines need to be levied, and also dock them draft picks. If you start docking them draft picks, that's how you hit them hard. That's how you hit them hard, Docking.
That's assuming that the ownership cares anything about anything other than returns. For the longest time, you talk about Robert Sarver. For the longest time, the Suns were the worst product in the NBA, and it
And
didn't
he may
matter.
be like, oh well, it's fine. I don't have to pay another first round pick.
Yeah, he purchased the team with a consortium of people for 400 million 17, 18 years ago. The current valuation off of an NBA Finals trip is over 1.7 billion. He's winning regardless of whether or not the team is winning, as are most of these owners. Bill Maher talked about just selling his stake in the New York Mets after a year-long period of them doing capital calls for all of the different owners within the ownership group to pour money in because baseball was losing money. And when Bill Maher turned around and sold his stake in the Mets, his words, I made out like a bandit anyway. This is an appreciating asset regardless. It's going to be an enormous windfall. You can only help somebody by forcing them to sell. All of a sudden they become liquid, and they might not have that appreciating asset anymore, but they're set for 400 lifetimes. So there is not necessarily an appropriate punishment. I think the most that you could do to somebody is not force them to sell the team, but force them to actually surrender a portion of their ownership. And then have
to who though?
It put it up essentially at auction, and then the proceeds go to charity or something. So it's not like, so you're taking an actual piece of the team away from them, which affects the appreciation over time.
I don't know as a business owner, I don't know if I like that, bro. But I guess that goes to the fact that you should not be a creepazoid. That you should not be a person who's doing these sorts of things. All right. Because suspending an owner, what does suspending an owner do?
Nothing, when they can just name their wife CEO of the team. Nothing.
Yep.
When you can just have a proxy.
Dock them draft picks and fine them money. If you do both of those, they'll stop. They will fix and if the fines are heavy enough, they will stop doing it. I mean, it's like Tesla, where Tesla, the dude who was experiencing the racism and all that stuff at Tesla, got $100+ million settlement, right? If he got a $5 million settlement, that doesn't really impact Tesla. Like, they'll be like, okay, we'll pay it. But $100+ million that they have to 127, I think it is, have to pay out. That's going to get some emails sent. That's going to get some doing done. They're going to be like, hold up. No. We can't have this again, player.
What would you think of a reverse morality clause that can be triggered by the league? So, you can get fired for cause, obviously, which negates your ability to receive a payout. Players can be cut, but what if in their contracts was built in the ability to opt out based on the misdeeds of their bosses and their franchise? So let's say that you had a $200 million quarterback in year one of their contract, and your owner and your GM get caught sending nude photos of cheerleaders to their friends. That would trigger a morality clause opt-out in which you could say, I don't want to be on this team anymore.
Oh,
and
my
there's no penalty
God.
for that whatsoever.
Bro, so you got the answer, Ralph. You got the answer. Oh, yes. Imagine if something came out. I'm not suggesting that the Bills ownership is doing anything wrong, but I'm saying, because he's just the latest quarterback who's gotten a deal. And Josh Allen, if something came out about him, like the Washington football team with Daniel Snyder paying a lady almost $2 million for something he did to her on his plane, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, cool. I had a mother who experienced this, or my sister, or whatever, wife, or I don't stand for this. I'm out of this team. Bro, that'd be, we talk about punitive, bro.
And it's not a holdout. It's a morality clause opt-out that the NFL can trigger. Like, all right, any players on your team that don't want to be part of this this toxic environment, like, they have the ability to leave. And imagine what would happen if 3 of your 5-star players all knew that even if they were playing well, that they could level up off
Josh Allen and a couple other people were like, oh yeah, we're out, player. After the season, just letting you know, just in case you were wondering. That might actually force owners to sell Hmm. All
Yeah,
right.
because that you would the weird thing about fans is they're almost never going to side with the players on an individual basis. They root for the laundry, right? But if it's a group of players, then you almost don't like when the Clippers were all dumping their jerseys at midcourt during the whole Donald Sterling, fiasco. If you're a Clippers fan, you can't just single out one player and say like, well, you want to be discontent, go be discontent somewhere else. If
Yeah.
there's nobody to wear the laundry, you can't be a fan of the
Co-
laundry.
Yes, and then the answer is okay. We can't get rid of all the players, so then let's get rid of the problem. Like because that's what fans point to. They point to the problem. They're like, let's get rid of the problem so we can get back to doing what we do.
Right.
All right. Speaking of the problem, the NBA had its own problem, and that was with the foul calls, man. I was growing so discontent as an NBA fan with watching James Harden flop all over the place, go up under people's arms just to get a foul, and then be like, "Oh, foul!" and or jumping into people. Like if a defender jumps up and he's got his vertical plane, and then the defender jumps into him just to try to shoot it to get a foul. Bro, I could not have been more like the NBA has now changed that rule. They're not calling those fouls. Free throw shooting is down. That means you got to make more buckets. Bro, and James Harden is upset. I could care less. I love it.
Okay. Um, I think it's too much too fast, but I understand where you're coming from. You complained about it for a really long time. It's not like this is anything new, but big however, the number of players that are being affected and the way that they're being affected seems to be a little bit overkill.
No, dude.
And it's still
we
a
only have
pretty
2 players over 10 free throw attempts per game. 2. And then the next closest is 7. And I love it. This is the way it
okay.
should
Well,
be.
there was only one last year. It was Joel Embiid. So it's not like it was almost like they were slowly doing it over time. It's that the overall scoring is being completely thrown off because the style of play has so rapidly changed. You're taking 10 points a game off of James Harden's total. Even Devin Booker is way down. Harden I worry about because he's the poster child for this. Harden I worry that they're just not calling anything.
Yep.
Because he does draw a lot of contact on the drive. Part of that's just the ambidextrous thing that he's able to do, which is him taking advantage of the rules as they are written. Contact in the air draws a foul, but it feels like they're going beyond.
Are the answer. FIBA rules are the answer. You saw what happened to the Olympic team when they couldn't get these ticky-tack fouls. Go get buckets. They are the greatest players in the world. They can go get buckets. Make them go get buckets. And stop
Were you on the
letting
verge?
them manipulate the rules.
Were you on the verge of not watching basketball anymore?
It not anymore. I think that's an overreaction, but it definitely lowered my basketball consumption because I would not watch Harden play very often. Couldn't do it. I mean, same thing with Trae Young. Oh, and I like Trae Young, but it just disrupts the flow of the game so much. And you're just like, okay, so I'm just going to sit up here and watch a free throw shooting contest instead of the best players in the world display their skills constantly? Yeah, no, it's a no for me.
But you really think that James Harden went from averaging 11 free throw attempts 2 years ago to 3 free throw attempts so far this year, and that's natural? You don't think they're going too far with it?
No, he's not. Since he's been in Brooklyn, his free throw attempts have been down. Like, it's not even... Like that's the thing about it is that his free throw attempts are down because that's what he's not choosing to.
Well, he's going to have the
to
ball
hole
less
as
too
much.
because you have other people on the team, Kyrie when he shows up, and Kevin Durant that can create off the dribble. So the offense doesn't need to run through him. But he's got 12 free throw attempts through 4 games. That's that. You think that that's sustainable?
No. Okay. So last year he averaged 6.3, right?
Yeah,
And
down from 11, over 11 the year
no,
before.
I'm sorry. He averaged 7.3 last year. And yeah, down from 11. And that was just from the move from Houston to Brooklyn because he had other people around him that needed to take shots, like Kevin Durant. So and Kyrie Irving. So but the down to 3, like overall in the league, the average amount of free throws per player has only dropped like somewhere between point 0.6 and point 0.8 free throws a game. So we're not even talking about a whole free throw a game, but when you add that up per person, that's a lot of free throws over the course of a game, which makes the game flow a lot better, as it should.
Okay, well, you got guys like Damien Lillard, who averaged 29 last year, averaging 17 through 3 games this year.
Well, he's also been shooting like he's been shooting with his eyes closed too. So like from the field, his field goal percentage is awful right now. But it's the beginning of the season.
Maybe that could just be it. You could have some of these guys that didn't get a full offseason because of playoffs and Olympics and whatnot. But Devin Booker's another one, 26 points down to 18 through 3 games this year. Something feels weird, and I don't know if it's directly correlative with the way that things are being officiated. But star players aren't necessarily like playing like stars right now, and I am interested to see if there's a correction over time, or it's a matter of exhaustion, or the rules, or what, because it's weird to see a huge dip in Harden stats, Booker's stats, Lillard's stats. Joel Embiid is another one who looks different than last year and is shooting less free
He's
throws.
also missing one of the better players in the NBA too.
Oh, was he getting a bunch of offensive help from?
No, but having him on the court, having a better player on the court does help another player's productivity. And the next thing up, we have heard so many people talk about a civil war in politics. Oh my God. See, look, January 6th. See, you people don't understand. We're going to have a civil war just like we did in the 1700s. Just like we did. And you're like, really? 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 1800s.
It's worse. It's worse when you hear people say that we just need to get it over with. We just need to, if there's all this division, we just need to get the fight over with.
Okay.
That's what I'm hearing a lot of.
I don't think that people fully understand what a civil war is. You know what I mean? Like they don't understand what it actually means to be at a civil war. 750,000 people died in the Civil War. 750,000. And that's not even counting the amount of people that were wounded. 504 deaths per day. 2.5% of the American population died. So if 2.5% of the American population dies now, what are we looking at, Ralph? Like 6 million people?
Like 7.5 million. Yeah.
Yeah. So 7.5 million.
Population of Arizona gone.
Yeah. Like, come on, man. Like, people who are talking about this Civil War crap, dude, those people won't even sign up to go to the military. And it sounds all fun and games, but then the other side is, who the hell is who is the enemy? Are Democrats gonna start shooting Republicans in Walmart? Are Republicans gonna start shooting independent? Like, it's absolute insanity, dude. And people have.
Let's talk about why we're talking about this, so people don't think that we're talking about 7.5 million people dying over the NBA free throw issue.
Okay, I'll play the Charlie Kirk sound. Yeah, that's a good. Charlie Kirk was speaking, and then a man asked this question.
Fascism. This is tyranny. When do we get to use the guns? No, and I'm not. That's not a joke. I'm not saying it like that. I mean, literally, where's the line? How many elections are they going to steal before we kill these people.
So no, no, hold on. No, stop. Hold on. And now I'm going to denounce that. I'm going to tell you why. Because you're playing into all their plans, and they're trying to make you do this.
At least Charlie Kirk was like, "Oh, you ain't gonna get me sued, partner. You're not dragging me down with these people."
The smattering of applause and cheers, because I have seen a lot of conservative people trying to say online, "Oh, that dude's definitely like a Fed. That's an FBI agent trying to discredit all of Turning Point USA and see if they can Charlie to spew some violent rhetoric." And even if that is, what about the people clapping? Because some people definitely responded positively to that. George, are we going to have a civil war because of some idiots?
No, dude. He's like, at what point in time do we start shooting? Shooting who? Who, Ralph? Who? Who? Your next door neighbor? Who the guy that you work with? It's like, come on, man. Like people that get these grand ideas in their mind because they're upset and frustrated with whatever's happening in the world. And you have a right to feel like that. But anybody who's in your life that's talking like this, tell them to shut the fuck up. That dude, for real. Tell them. And make them understand and tell them like and granted, there are people who would go out there shooting and all. I do, because there are crazy people all over the world. But and en masse, like, come on, bro. Like most people, it sounds all fun and games until somebody is actually shooting back, or until you have to, get into a war with the guy that you like at work. And people don't want to be violent like that. That's not natural. That's not in our human nature.
Nah, these people, that's my whole thing about, this is going to sound like I'm not taking January 6th seriously, but neither were the people who did it. They had taken over the Capitol and they spent their time walking around taking selfies. Those people all went back to like pillow top mattresses at a decent motel that night before they eventually got arrested and rounded up by the FBI. People don't actually want this. There's so many practical. I'll have friends say this sometimes, like, it feels like we're on the verge of a civil war. Or I've had some conservative friends say, like, oh, they don't want any of this. The side with all the guns, and I to me, it's always about specifics. It's always about specifics. It's less about telling them to shut the F up and more about getting them to continue talking so that they can see that there is no plan in place. There's no direction. One of the things I always say is when somebody says, like, the time's coming when this is all going to come to a head, I say, mount up, homie. Like, what are you going to do? You going to kill me? Are you going to kill me? Because you don't know what side I'm on of if there was a civil war. And do you think that I'm not going to defend myself?
And then the other thing is, dude, what side are you on? Because so like, let's say I'm a black man, and I'm like, yeah, let me go kill the black Democrat, the black Republican, the black independent. Wait, hold up, he's an Oregon fan. Ooh. Now what do I do? You know what I mean?
All the little different sects and tribes and ways that we identify ourselves.
Yeah. Right. It's wait, hold up. I'm a Republican. I am mad as hell. We're going to go kill. Oh, wait, hold up. That guy talks good things about the LGBTQ community, and I'm a member of that community. Can't get him.
It all reminds me of that meme where Wesley Snipes is crying a tear holding a gun, and it's like me when I have to kill Tony Hawk during the race war.
Yeah.
Like, the one that Tony Hawk replied to, he's like, thanks for the hesitation. But like, here's the deal. Like, okay, in a civil war situation, what hospitals are going to admit wounded patients? Who is going to lead and be responsible for communications, munitions, supplies, overall organization? Is there going to be a general? Is there going to be a central hub? Is there going to be specific battlefields, or are we going to operate with the understanding that whichever side is in control, the federal government is going to be able to find you and drone you in less than 5 seconds? like if we get into the actual practicalities of what a full-scale domestic fight would look like in America in 2021, you
Dude,
get to the point where
whoever
you
has
realize
control
how
of the federal
impractical
government,
it is.
it's over. It's over immediately.
And honestly, like if you look at other civil wars that have happened in the world within the last few years, let's look at Syria, right? Syria had an issue in which its president was saying, these are terrorists that we are bombing and gassing in our own cities. And the people who were being bombed and gassed were like, no, we're just against a government that would bomb and gas its own people. And outsiders trying to figure out what the truth was an absolute mess. But meanwhile, in the cities in which those conflicts were not happening, people were going on vacation, drinking champagne, having the time of their lives, because it's segmented. If there's a civil war, it might only happen in Louisville. It might not have anything to do with what's going on in Seattle or Los Angeles or Jacksonville, Florida. And those people aren't necessarily going to take up arms if they don't feel like it has anything to do with them. The idea that you can large scale organize all of these people and get them to enter into a life of discomfort when we are the fattest, happiest country on earth, no matter how much we bicker, is cartoonish. That's why you only ever have these lone wolf attacks and one-offs and things like that. People like Timothy McVeigh blowing up federal buildings. It's because you can't have a group of people organize and try to do
Because
something
somebody
like this.
is going to they're gonna be like, yeah, I agree with you, but to a point. I'm with you, but I'm only 7 out of 10 with you. I'm not 10 out of 10. You know what I mean? And
Right.
And as soon as you cross a line that I'm not with, I'm out.
And in the mid 1800s, George, when you left your house to go to the battlefield, you weren't leaving electricity behind. You weren't
Yeah.
leaving air conditioning behind.
Yeah,
You
you were
weren't
leaving
leaving
a
Uber
similar
Eats behind.
Yeah, it sucked. It was a worse situation, but it wasn't a good situation that you came from.
Yeah,
So-
it's literally never happening. And so the people who fantasize about this either shut up or mount up, because I'm just sick of hearing it. The idea that like, oh, we would win if, like, who is we? You're not doing anything. If you were going to do something, you'd have already done it.
Yeah, right.
Like-
we. You speak French now? Um, but there was more controversy and discontent over a movie, people. Over a movie. This is Buzz Lightyear. Disney Pixar is coming out with a movie. Buzz Lightyear. Yes, Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story, and this has caused an issue.
Okay, status. Booster, go. GNC, go. Vital, go. Okay, go, bud.
Cabin pressurization is underway.
As we prepare for ignition. Flight recorders are on. T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
So we have a Buzz Lightyear movie coming. Ralph, tell the people why this is a problem, or why this is what the cancel or consequence is here.
So a Buzz Lightyear origin story, not of the toy, but the actual person that inspired the toy in the fantasy Pixar universe of Toy Story, is not going to be voiced by Tim Allen. Do you think that Tim Allen's personal conservative politics have led to Pixar moving on from him and instead selecting Chris Evans, Captain America, to be the new voice of Buzz Lightyear?
I have no idea, bro. I literally have no idea. Is it possible? Yes. Is it possible that Tim Allen said he didn't want to do it? Yes. Is it possible Tim Allen asked for too much money? Yes. Is it possible that he's working on another movie when they wanted to do it and they didn't really want him anyway? Yes. I mean, there are 1,000 possibilities. Could Tim Allen have had COVID, not wanted to comply with the COVID policies that the studio has? I mean, there's like 50,000 possible reasons. And so did his politics, I don't know. I don't know. This is just absolute insanity that people are upset about this. I get the questions, but so what? How many times, dude? I had to live through a new Aunt Viv on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and if I made it through that, I can make it through an animated actor changing from one voice to another voice.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Allen can speak for himself. And I've watched a lot of people get worked up a bunch of different times, like when Last Man Standing wasn't renewed, and they're like, oh, he's being punished for his ideas and politics. And Tim Allen, who can speak for himself, has never said that was the case. He's never come out and said that the reason that he's not voicing Buzz Lightyear in this prequel has anything. He didn't say anything against Chris Evans. He's made a ton of money off of Pixar. He continues to work in Hollywood, and Tim Allen is one of those guys that just doesn't like taxes deducted from his paycheck. Like that's the type of conservative that Tim Allen is. The Grover Norquist "don't tax me under any circumstances" style conservative. And so I don't think so, but I am seeing a lot of people argue online and inject their own politics into the situation because Chris Evans is an outspoken
Can
Hollywood
people
liberal type.
stop? Can people stop like speaking for other people? Like there are like a week ago, or no, it's like 2 weeks ago, some a white guy goes on. He's like, "This is offensive to black people. Like you guys need to stop that." I was like, "Really? No, actually, like how about you let us tell you, and then you pick up the mantle and help us from there. But don't try to tell me what's offensive, dude. This is like Demi Lovato talking about we need to stop using the term aliens. It is offensive to actual extraterrestrials. Like what? What? How do we know? Like who know? Dude, Trevor Noah made a great point about this. Like, how do you know that they're not even just going to watch our movies and be like, that's what you think we look like? That's what you think we sound like? I mean, bro, like, how can you speak for what aliens, actual, not human, where we used to call them illegal aliens, and now we call them whatever other term that people want.
Undocumented.
Yeah, undocumented, whatever term that is acceptable politically correct now. How can you speak for freaking extraterrestrials? Like, stop. Like, it's got to stop somewhere. Like that is where wokeness goes wrong.
People just want a reason to get their side out, and like to make Tim Allen your champion, or even all this time that Colin Kaepernick isn't out there speaking for himself, but everybody else wants to invoke his name in every cause. I'm with you 100%. We should let people say what they have to say. I'm not going to be mad for Tim Allen. If Tim Allen comes out and said, like, they didn't even ask me and I'm offended, I'd be like, you know what? That's some bullshit. Exactly. Will I see the movie? Probably. Because it's not a remake. It's not a remake. It's a prequel. But at the same time, like, I'm not going to let like celebrity and studio beef impact my personal life just so that I can get a few political hot takes off. Is there liberal bias in Hollywood?
Yeah.
Yes.
There is.
Is Tim Allen still getting work?
Yes.
Yeah, he's really good at what he does. If they can make money off you, they don't care.
Correct. That's prime example, bro. That's why people are like, well, the NFL owners, there's zero chance they could be racist. They employ so many black millionaires. Yeah, because they get to make billions. People will will give you money, even if they don't like you, if you can make money for them in droves. All right.
Right. You talk about like all the people who that used to be the defense of racists and plantation owners, slave owners. Like, wow, would they let some live in the house? Like, yeah, because the dinner wasn't going to make itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they were getting something out of it. They did not consider them to be on equal footing or even human, right? Like that's not what's going on here.
Yep. Now it is time for the best of social media, where we literally show you the best things from social media. The first thing up is This is trash talk in a fight. Oh, this is trash talk in an actual boxing match. This dude who is in a fur coat with clear braces, dude, I just can't. Like this is clearly an act, clearly a show. And listen to what this dude has to say. If your kids are in the car, earmuffs.
Man, I just want to say I'm excited to be here on Showtime. You know what I mean? I might be honestly the youngest. Well, I mean, as far as like record-wise, like as far as like all the YouTubers and stuff, with the exception of them, I might be the pay-per-view fighter with the least amount of fights. You know? But I mean, you guys gonna see the semifinal. I'm gonna knock this dwarf the fuck out. That's how it is. You hear that? I'm gonna knock you the fuck out. Flatline. You know how it is. You damn fucking scared? What the fuck am I scared of? You literally... Man. You a stupid fucking dwarf, man. I'm telling you, man. I can't even mess with your fucking head. I can't even mess with your fucking head. It's so fucking big, like this fucking big. And your fucking little T-Rex arms, man. My dick's longer than your fucking arms. Yeah.
That is some of the worst trash talk I've ever heard in my life. And also, and as a person with a speech impediment, I feel like I have the right to say this. You cannot talk trash on a high level with a lisp. Unless you are Mike Tyson, who is the most dangerous man in the world at some point in time. Like, this dude, when you look at him, he does not look like he could kill a man with his bare hands. Flatline you. Mike Tyson, everybody actually believed that, including most of his opponents.
But that was still high level trash talk from Mike Tyson.
No, it wasn't. The delivery was so bad.
I'm gonna eat your children.
Oh, you're talking about Mike Tyson.
Michael Tyson.
Oh
yes.
yeah, bruh. Because you actually believed he would eat your kids. He bit a man's ear. He bit a man's ear in a fight. He bit it clean off, like part of the ear.
So you're saying, like, as long as the person is like certified. If you're certified, okay, because I've heard some pretty hardcore trash talk from people with speech issues. I mean, is there a greater burn in history than Kip Dynamite saying your mom goes to college? Come on now.
Wait, what?
Have you not seen Napoleon Dynamite?
Yes.
Right, the Kip, your mom goes to college.
I don't remember why that was funny. I haven't seen it in forever.
Oh, come on now. See, you're not up with the LDS humor pop culture from the early 2000s. How are we going to have a successful podcast? But here's the issue.
I'm supposed to know LDS humor?
You're supposed to know who Kip Dynamite is.
Okay, your mom goes to college. I do remember people saying that, but I don't remember why it was funny.
All right. It was funny because he had a lisp. Anyway, so is this good trash talk? I mean, what's the whole point of trash talk? To get in somebody's head.
Yes.
Right?
Are
you telling me that
dude, that did not get into Gervonta Davis's head?
I think he went home and thought about it for a while.
He looks like a clown show, dude. You're just like, okay, this guy's trying to sell a fight. All right. Like, that was a nothing burger trash talk. My 15-year-old has better trash talk than that.
But isn't that the point? Like, that's just it. A man could go up there in a fur coat with a lisp, sounding like he's
trash
on
talk is
Quaaludes,
supposed to make you
and
mad.
call you a dwarf. I would be I would be mad. I'd be mad I even had to be in the same room.
Dude, this dude is like the I don't know what his ethnicity is, but whatever his ethnicity is, he is that version of Malibu's Most Wanted.
If somebody calmly called you a dwarf repeatedly, and
at a press conference,
and never raised their voice,
Okay, dude, if Shannon Sharp did it, then yeah, he would probably have my feathers ruffled.
So
Because
you
he's a
respond.
master
You
trash
respond to the
talker.
energy. You
Yes.
respond to the energy. But
Yes.
that's just it. Like the energy to me is bloviating. If you
Yeah,
got to
but
yell
the
at
energy
somebody,
can be no. You don't have to be yelling to have good energy. Good energy can be displayed sometimes without even saying a word. This dude, there's nothing believable about this guy. Nothing.
no, the aviators and the clear braces and the fur coat.
Dude, he's fake.
Didn't do it
He's
for you?
fake. He's fake. All right.
What if he
speaking of-
wins? Then what are you gonna say? What if he wins?
He won't.
What if
it's
he
not-
wins by knockout and the next time he talks trash the exact same way? You think it'll be
it's
more
not-
effective?
It's not happening. I can't even live in a mental space where that's possible.
Are you more likely to watch the fight than you were before?
Yes,
Why?
because I want to see Gervonta Davis knock his face off now. At first, I didn't
So
care.
then all right, so how is it not how is it not effective
It
trash
didn't
talk?
affect the fighter. It now has made me interested in the fight, though.
You're about
Because
to
I'm
put
like,
money,
who is this idiot, dude?
you're about to
this-
put money in this man's pocket.
This dude is like Prince Nasir, who would come out dancing and all, and then get his face knocked off. That's what I want to see. Another controversial thing that happened on the best of social media, but this is probably the worst of social media. This young lady, she said her father died, and then at the funeral, she's like posting. She was posting butt shots and all of this stuff. Is she out of line?
For posing in front of her father's casket for
Open
likes,
casket. Yep.
in front of his open casket for the gram. I wanted to. I don't know. Well, I don't know what you want me to say here. Like, he's not going to be mad.
I would get up out of my casket and whoop her ass. like if you don't get your stupid ass, get out of here. I would go to God and be like, God, can you like just disable her from social media, like a 1-year ban where Facebook can't even fix it, where Instagram can't even fix it.
At what point do you look at your Instagram and say, like, I've got almost 12,000 likes. I must have did something right here, posing in high fashion in front of my father's casket.
If you are judging likes by doing the right thing, then you are sadly mistaken, because people will co-sign your BS. All right,
well, make sure to like, share, and subscribe the Reister Wrong podcast.
Yes. All right, the last thing up is this man. So I've always wondered, like, you don't need a commercial license to drive a U-Haul, but they may want people to get them after you have, because this is a video that I feel like has happened 50,000 times. This man is driving a U-Haul into a garage that's clearly too small. He runs into the sprinkler system above and then tries to back out. And the longer that you watch this video, because at first you're like, oh, I've seen a million of these videos. Somebody running into a place. Oh, and then he runs up like something that puts the car off balance and then does it again. Bro, what is this person thinking?
I don't know.
Like,
I don't
and
know.
then there was water that comes out. Well, actually, first, brown stuff starts leaking from the ceiling. I'm assuming it's a sewer pipe, right?
It's oxidized. It's the water that just sits in the pipe, in the sprinkler pipe, because obviously the sprinklers aren't always going off in parking garages. So the water that just sits in the pipe gets oxidized or whatever. And so it came out all brown, and then it gets washed off by the fact that they set the sprinkler system up for the entire parking garage. This video is incredible. And if you've never been to it, 11foot8.com. It's a website where there's a couple of mounted cameras outside an office building are filming an 11'8" bridge that has like a trestle in front of train tracks that trucks run into on average like once every couple of weeks, and it's called the Can Opener Bridge, and it just rips the top of the truck off. You could get a solid half an hour of cry-filled laughter out of going to that website. If you think this is funny,
Dude,
somebody
the bridge on there has a damn. It's like they got a yellow thing that is alerting people like, don't do this, people. Don't do this. And they still do it. I just looked at the website right now. This is madness.
funniest website. Well, that bridge is actually in North Carolina, and I am going to visit it. I would be as excited seeing the 11 bridge as I would seeing.
So are they lying? So here's my question: are they lying about the height? Because it says 11'8", right? But the sign in front of it says 12'4".
So they spent several $1 million raising it 6 inches since it had caused so much damage, and they did that about a year ago. Spent a ton of money raising it 6 inches, and people still get caught under it.
Absolute craziness, dude. That sounds like the people, the hiker who got lost for 24 hours who had cell phone service, because you're a moron. All right. You guys, that's Reister or Wrong for the day. I'm George Reister. He's Ralph Hampton.